Clint, I got to say, man, I was really, really interested, and maybe one of the most interesting things to start training camp and start the offseason was to me on how Stefon Diggs was going to fit in, how that situation was going to go about. Because, yes, as I said when they brought him in, I think this move now, when you add him to the weapons they had, makes them a Super Bowl contender and a top 4 AFC team at the very least once they got him. But obviously there was not fake, very real. We've seen it and witnessed it baggage that came with him on the field with teammates, particular quarterbacks. And it was a wonder how that was going to fit. As of now, on August 8th, Clint, I've got to say, one, not that I thought fireworks was going to start here, but even more surprised to me that it's not just fireworks, that this dude has become one of the most important guys in the locker room to this team. Not just on the field, but just the leadership thing. Like, it's not just that he has had nothing pop up. It is, Clint, that he is, like, he's one of the top 3 leaders on the team. It feels like he's been more than what they bargained for, more than what that second-round pick has been worth, at least up to this point. So I got to tip my hat to Stefon Diggs as him being brought over is more than just, on the field stuff. It has become, boy, I would potentially look at this team differently if he weren't in there working with a lot of these cats.
Well, look, there's so many layers here that it's awfully convincing, right? I mean, you made a comment early on, and you and I kind of went back and forth on it because I think it's the toughest kind to manage are the kind that do right 99% of the time and then cause distractions when it matters the most on the sideline, right? And your response consistently was, well, it seems like it's an eruption that stems from caring too much ultimately, and having too much invested and wanting to win too bad, and that very well could be true. In fact, it probably is more likely that is the case with Diggs after we. There's just so many layers to this dude in a sense of like what he brings to the table. You want to talk about a guy that's worth every penny. You paid him, I think, $22 million this year, worth every single penny without a doubt. And we've talked about the mentoring, the really towards, it seems like Tank Dell and it seems like John Mechie early in camp, him going out of his way to mentor those guys. We've talked about just, my old thought of if I were a coach or if I were scouting or recruiting, I'd want to sit a guy in a cafeteria by himself, watch everybody else come in, and if he doesn't have 5 or 6 or 10 guys sitting around him rather quickly, then I know that guy's not my guy. That guy's not the leader that everybody thinks he is. That guy's not as well liked, not genuinely and sincerely as everybody thinks he is. Stefon Diggs is a guy wherever you set him on a practice field in a break, that's where the crowd goes to. Everybody naturally gravitates to Stefon Diggs. We talk about how hard he works in practice. I mean, he is 100% every rep. I mean, he is a quarterback's best friend as it pertains to that. And then, we hear yesterday he's out of practice. Now I don't know how much it had to do with getting hit by Jimmy Ward or not. I don't know how much that had to do with it.
They said he walked off gingerly, but he came back in the game or into practice.
Right. I don't know how much that had to do with it, but I mean, I know that we've got to be, man, we got to be 15 practices in, and that's the first time that I've heard Diggs is taking a veteran day or taking a day off, regardless of why.
And this guy's taking them.
I mean, this is another layer, man. I mean, it is easy to lead. It is easy to lead when all of those things are true. People naturally gravitate to you. You genuinely and sincerely want to help the younger dudes or help other guys at your position. You understand like what it takes to have true chemistry with your quarterback. Like you got to invest. You got to have sweat equity. And now all of a sudden you're a dude that's accomplished more than anybody on his football team. He's accomplished more than anybody on his football team.
And working harder than anybody else.
15 straight days? Man, it's easy to lead from the front, boys. It's easy to lead when you're out there in pads and you're grinding and you genuinely and sincerely care. So, yeah, not only is Stefon Diggs impressing the hell out of everybody and worth every penny, he just continues to add layers. He continues to add layers to what he's bringing to this football team.
Yeah, man. I listen. You was off on that, and it's one of those things, Clint, you don't realize until you get to see it on a daily basis.
Oh, that's right. It's impossible.
Right? You don't get to see that, and isn't it odd? I think you said this, and I agree. Like, for what he gives every day, it does seem like you're able to potentially handle some of the potential meltdowns or blow-ups a little differently, just because, like, you're seeing this on a daily basis. You're seeing I think it does wear thin after a while if it's a continually happening. But the way that he goes at it every day, it feels like it's something that's more manageable and more able to accept, because, as I said, mostly where it's coming from.
Yeah, look, I mean, you just
not a habit.
You give benefit of the doubt, and guys can get away with things when they grind like they do, and nobody even questions whether winning is priority number one for them. It's kind of like Brady, not putting Diggs in the same category with Brady, but just I think from the context of this conversation, I think it's fair. Like, Brady blowing up on the sideline, right? The way he does. Like, that's acceptable because of the way dude grinds, the way that he leads, the way that he overworks, the way that he's always looking for an advantage. And all of his teammates and all of his coaches understand that. And so that's acceptable. And it's totally different than some jackleg blowing up on the sideline because he's not getting the football or because something's not right around him. And that's why. I mean, and you look at Stefon Diggs now and you go, and I don't know if he had I don't know if he was doing these same things in terms of helping the youngsters and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if he had the same relationship with the head coach and the quarterback that he seems to have here. I have no idea. But you look at the work he's putting in right now. I mean, he has earned the privilege. Not that I encourage it or want it to ever happen, but he's earning the privilege to be on the sideline and throw a damn helmet and say, damn it, we got to be better.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's earned the privilege to do that based on what everybody's seen at practice and what kind of value he brings to this team. So it's definitely a different animal when you see it every day.
Yeah, and I do think when Diggs kind of goes off, I'd be surprised to hear it be like, "Hey, give it to me." I think it is probably more, as you just said, we got to do this, right? I get the sense that it's not a deal like if Tank is getting the ball or Nico is getting the ball and they're putting up points and I believe he said it in a press conference, and everything is looking right and going right, I think he's good with it. I don't think he's Keyshawn in this thing.
Right.
Throw me the damn ball. I don't think that's where its go off is. I think its go off potentially is like this offense is not running the way it should be.
Which makes sense. Again, watching the way he invests for days and days and days and reps and reps and reps, you should be pissed off if something's not working.
I think there are some guys, and you probably run into guys in the league that, I know we put up 35 today, but damn, man, this ball ain't coming my way.
It ain't coming my way. Well, yeah, there's more of those guys than not.
I don't know. I don't feel that Diggs is that way.
It doesn't seem like it.
At least from what we're seeing right now.
It does not seem like it.
A lot of time.